Jai Anilo Premadano Paramakacho Founder Krishna Prabhupada Ananda Koti Vaishnava
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare His Divine Grace, Srila Tamal Goswami Maharaj, Srila
What to speak if one is weak. But if one is weak, even if he's weak, if he has very strong feelings for his spiritual master, then gradually he can be pulled out of that weak condition. Our spiritual movement is going forward because of dedication to Guru. This report from Kashidesh was written while traveling in China. And why am I traveling there? Except that I want to offer some tangible service to Srila Prabhupada, my eternal spiritual master. And when I review everything that I do, it is as a personal offering dedication to the spiritual master. Everything is based upon loving feelings. But love is not simply a sentiment, and that is where the rules and regulations come in, because they give strength in the beginning to our love. Otherwise, the feelings which we have gradually become simply sentiment. Real love means where there are feelings which are strengthened by knowledge and detachment. These strengthen bhakti. Love means bhakti. And they become strengthened by knowledge and detachment. Without knowledge and detachment, real bhakti doesn't develop. But real bhakti goes beyond these things as well. Because we see that in actual pure love for Krishna, then all things are put aside. And one simply surrenders wholly and totally unto the will of the Lord. I was very moved by Rebecca Shira's presence here. It reminded me of 2 points. How much he and other God brothers like him who are advanced, very advanced devotees love Srila Prabhupada, and how much love they have for the God brothers also. One time it was explained what a Shiksha Guru is. The basis of Shiksha is to teach unflinching faith to the instructions of the spiritual master. Because with that Shiksha or instruction, everything else is possible. So, unless someone has great faith and devotion on someone else, how can they teach a disciple what the essence of spiritual life is? I see how with a person like Sri Maharaj, I'm able to exchange whatever realizations I have in spiritual life with him. So whatever there is of me at this point, he knows very intimately well. And therefore, a person like him can be so much helpful to all of my disciples. And there are others also. So I'm very fortunate that I have very close God brothers who I have opened my heart to. And so they have opened their heart to me. So I think that this ceremony today is special because he has come here and helped everybody to worship the spiritual master. And I also want to say that I was a very ordinary person, but Srila Prabhupada picked me up and made me a special object of his mercy. I don't think there was any good cause for it. I cannot find out any real strong reason for it, except Prabhupada's closest mercy. And he invested his mercy in me. And so, whatever I have been able to manifest of Krishna consciousness is a result of Prabhupada's association and his ongoing care and nourishment of me. His and everyone else as well. I wish that everyone would bear in mind more relationship with the spiritual master. Those who are advanced devotees in our society, they keep this foremost within their mind at every moment. During Prabhupada's time, they were able to practice serving Prabhupada's orders. I know I was very fortunate. I got so many orders, constantly ordered. I don't think there was ever a time practicing myself accountable to him all the time. I had to write him regularly. I knew that he knew everything I was doing. And so my life was formed in that way. My spiritual life became formed in that principle. Carrying out Prabhupada's instructions. And it became a habit, and it became deeply impressed until there was nothing else left in me except this. It is like that now. So I think that devotees at the present time in our society are very fortunate because they have their spiritual masters present with them. And unfortunately, I think they don't always understand. Even in Prabhupada's time, maybe not everyone understood how fortunate they are. That if they wish to be placed in that position, they can directly be under the order of the Guru. They can have a direct relationship with the spiritual master where he begins to make demands on behalf of Krishna. Where didn't record anything? No? This we get into a position where we can dedicate your life like this. So, in order not to satisfy your own stuff, just so you get enough.
I'm recording them.
I always get humbled when mistakes like this take place because I know that what I'm saying is not very important.
She recorded. She has it here.
Then people would be empowered to record.
I'm recording. Please don't stop.
Well, then maybe something can speak a little longer. So, I do take it that way. I just think whenever they don't record, I think it's only because it's not very important. So then I don't mind. Sometimes I get the illusion of thinking that something I'm saying is worthwhile. And I get upset why they didn't record. So, if you're in a Grihastha ashram situation, as Srila Prabhupada was, and at that time it appeared that he could not do everything for his Guru Maharaj, but he prepared himself at that time. He did not take lightly the sadhana, for example. During his Grihastha ashram, I spoke about this with one of Prabhupada's sons. He told me that Prabhupada used to personally have Radha Krishna deities at his home. He used to bathe the deities, cook every morning before going to work. He would bathe and dress the deities. He would sew the clothing for his own deities. This is as a grown man, Grihastha. Even though he had a wife who could have done as he did it, he would cook in the morning for his deities. In other words, he did so much deity worship. Then he would do his Harinam. Then as he gradually, in years that followed, he used to study Bhagavatam 4 hours in the morning. At least you should even distinguish if it's a material or a spiritual thing with some people, because I know that if it weren't for your feelings for me, some of you would not even be here. And I become very moved by that, because anyway, I saw that Srila Prabhupada was always moved by that type of devotion from the disciples. So, I hope that we can continue to serve. I pray that we continue always to serve together. And one day, we shall all find ourselves at the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani, Sri Krishna, all the Sakis, all of the residents of Raja, and at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu and Navadvip. And then they can enact, take part in enacting eternal Sankirtan. Go, Premanandi, encourage you very much for people to go to read their offerings. I got the impression that he was a very nice person. We got very nicely. We had a nice conversation over the phone. I don't think I would end up paying the bill, but it was a nice discussion. And later on, in the late 1970s, and then I had the opportunity to come here. And at that time, Underground was not like it is now. Those devotees who were here, many of the devotees who were here, they know it's quite different. And over those years, since then, I've always very much depended on Srila Gurudev to give me guidance, specifically in spiritual matters, but particularly in those things which related to what Srila Prabhupada would have wanted of me in certain instances. I always felt very deficient because I never really had more than about 2-3 occasions when I actually had the opportunity to speak with Prabhupada. And I would have liked to be able to get that training or opportunity to know what Prabhupada would do in any circumstance. And in my Krishna Consciousness, I've always searched for devotees who could actually give me that type of guidance and direction. I've tried to get that here and there. Sometimes the devotees I depended on ended up being not so committed to Prabhupada as that originally appeared. But that was never the case with Srila Gurudev. Rather, he was always either in thick or thin, stuck to Srila Prabhupada. And I always feel that great faith and trust that whenever I want to know what Prabhupada would do in a particular situation, then he'll always tell me, yes, this is what Prabhupada would say. And I have faith not just because of his extraordinary Krishna conscious intellect, which is very much appreciated throughout our society, but because of his many years of association with Srila Prabhupada from the early days in Los Angeles up until the final days in Vrindavan. So I feel very confident being in that association, and I very much value all of the guidance that Srila Gurudev has given me. I want to thank him for that very much. I hope that he'll continue to give me this mercy and guidance in the years to come. Hare Krishna.
We have a special guest here.
Elizabeth Esperson. She's the director of Thanksgiving Square, and she would like to make an offering. Could you please make it in for her? She's got a cast.
Hare Krishna. I didn't know I was going to do this, but the Lord did. Very early this morning, about 6:30, I was reading from the Bhagavad Gita this verse, and then I stopped to reflect on it. One who is not disturbed in mind, even amidst the threefold miseries, or elated when there is happiness, and one who is free from attachment, fear, and anger, is called a sage of steady mind. A sage of steady mind. And then in the purport it refers to the fact that a sage of steady mind is one who lives in consciousness of the Lord, of Krishna, or in my terms of Jesus Christ, and one who serves. And so, as a birthday wish, I would wish for you, Tamal Krishna Goswami, and for all of us, that we might be sages of steady mind, that we might grow in consciousness of the Lord, and that we might serve.
I wanted to say that I've, in the last few years, since I've gotten to know Elizabeth and interacted with Thanksgiving Square, something happened to me which I think was significant. That very often, Srila Prabhupada would make a statement, very heavy statement, an absolute statement. We are good and everybody else is bad. Of course, he wouldn't make that statement in public, but he would make it quite often in private. At the same time, Prabhupada was very broad-minded, and I recall when he spoke at a gathering in Australia. It was, what was it, a Franciscan friars community. He glorified Jesus, Lord Jesus, said that Jesus Christ is our Guru. Prabhupada also said that Jesus Christ is Sakhavish Avatar, which means that he is directly the empowered representative of God, the Supreme Father. So, I think that what I appreciate so much is that Elizabeth has helped me, because she's really the person who, I think, amongst Christians who I've allowed to get close to me, or I've come close to them, enough to understand something about them. And I've actually appreciated, I've learned to understand how it can reconcile the point where Prabhupada said, we're good, everybody else is bad. And yet he was very broad-minded. And that, what he meant by this is that anyone who is genuinely Krishna conscious or God conscious is good. So what I found by her association is I've actually learned to genuinely appreciate that someone can be God conscious while on a very, on a different path, a different tradition in any case, following a very different tradition. And yet I've been able to appreciate this, and I've actually appreciated it sincerely, rather than just doing it as a formality. Well, it's good to connect with persons of other traditions. We should do that. It'll make the world better. Actually, I do appreciate her Krishna consciousness. And I think it's helped me, therefore, to be able to be much more open to other persons as well. And therefore, I'm a very, very strong advocate of Thanksgiving Square. The other day, the religious editor of the Dallas Morning News came to visit at lunch. I think he came shortly thereafter. He had his visit with you. So he's asking me about what is the value of Thanksgiving Square. And I was, I should have been on the payroll of Thanksgiving Square. So strongly advocating the value of Thanksgiving Square because of my own personal experience. I always considered myself to be broad-minded, but really I'm beginning to be a little broad-minded, I feel, on account that of your association and with your help. It's helped me greatly. So, anyway, I know there are God brothers in our society like Satsuri Maharaj who can do this very easily, but I'm simply, I haven't been able to, but somehow by, your association taught me this. So, I very much appreciate that you came. Of course, I knew you would come. because in the sense that, there is actually a real relationship developed. So once that relationship is there, how can one not come? At the time of whatever, there's a joyous celebration, or at the time of need, one has to come. That's what friendship means. So I just want to tell you that, anyway, something wonderful has come about from your association, the work we're doing. And I'm sure many other people have been similar benefited. So from our side, we also pray that we shall meet in the spiritual world by the grace and arrangement of the Lord, and that we will become, more and more elevated in spiritual life until we will achieve the supreme destination of personal association with the Lord also. So,
in Vrindavan, you took us on parikram, and through your eyes, you allowed us to see that we were actually in the spiritual world. Without it, I would never have been able to glimpse the magic of these Bhagavatam. In Vrindavan, we had an ecstatic Guru Puja. Some were dancing and some were crying. As we were offering our flowers of gratitude, I could see that you are in the same mood as the gopis, always trying to bring us closer to Krishna, and that you genuinely think of yourself as a servant of all. You're so kind that by accepting our service and worship, you're making us fortunate, helping us become dear to the Lord. In Vrindavan, I always get to meet so many God brothers and God sisters, and I also think of those whom I already know. One can easily tell they're fruits of a Tamal tree because they're sweet and soft, and they all remind one of Krishna. The more I get to know them, the more I get to appreciate and admire them, and I understand that to please you, I must please them too. In Vrindavan, I notice that you personally get involved in all aspects of your disciples' lives. You're so loving and concerned. For everyone else, you're sannyasi and GBC, but for us, you're our Lord and Master, dear Father, best friend, and the purpose of our lives. In Vrindavan, I see how much you relish to share intimately with your God brothers and friends the realizations that you have. Together you churn the nectar, diving deeper and deeper into the ocean of Krishna's treasure of love. In Vrindavan, there once was something I wanted to talk about, but I hesitated because I didn't want to take up your time. An hour later, you called me and started talking about that which was in my mind. This incident confirmed that wonderful things happen in Vrindavan, and it became clear to me that you know very well all of our hearts. In Vrindavan, I realized that you are the king of the greedy, and that to live in this land, greed is a qualification. I pray therefore that I may be blessed with the right desire and may someday develop a voracious appetite for Vrindavan's mercy. In Vrindavan, I know you want to stay, but you continue returning to the west on the order of Guru and Gauranga to deliver the whole world. Because of your surrendered mood, it doesn't matter where you are. You always have Vrindavan in your meditational heart. And for us, who live away from Vrindavan, simply by seeing you, we're transported to that enchanted place where Radhashyam eternally reside in Vrindavan. Your aspiring servant in Vrindavan.
Next is Mother Vrindavan Vihar.
Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Vedaya Kripathe Krishna Sambandha Vignana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojjala Vimanya Shri Rupanga Bhaktida Shri Gaura करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुग विरुद्धाप सिद्धांत पांचहरिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्य मूर्तये विप्रलम्भ रसाम्बोधे पादाम्बुजाय ते नमः नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिद आनंद नामिने गौर शक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुग बनायते गौराविर्भाव मुनेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सज्जनप्रिया वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरद्विषे नमः पंचतत्व आत्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तिशक्तिकं हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते जयतां सुरतौ भङ्गो मम मन्द गते गति मत्सर्वस्व पदाम्भोजौ राधा वदनमोहनौ दिव्य वृन्दारण्य कल्पद्रुमाथ श्रीमद् रत्नाकर सिंहासन सौनंद यद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमः विष्णु पादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते तमाल कृष्ण गोस्वामी नामिने स्वाहा